It's not just the answers, not just the quotes. It's life in the margins. It's time for CluffsNotes.
Personal insights.
So here are some things that I took away from the journey. I don't think my way forward. I move my thinking forward. When I found myself getting stuck, it's rarely about my ability. It's more often my thinking is still sitting in my head. And what helped me wasn't pushing harder. It was shifting the form. Talking out loud, sketching, writing, dialoguing. I didn't just use those to explain what I already knew. I used them to discover what I didn't yet understand. Externalization isn't a strategy. It's how my thinking works. When I stay internal too long, my thinking tends to stall. I often understood things by expressing them. There's a kind of comprehension that happens in the very act of saying, writing, or sketching something out. Oh, this next one's a big one for me. Language matters more than I realized. I'd always known that words matter, but I didn't realize just how much the right word could shift everything in my thinking. Sometimes I was trying to make something more precise, and other times I was trying to make it more simple, even more basic than it felt. But either way, when the language fit, the idea became clearer, more stable, it was more usable in my head. It wasn't something I was now circulating, it was something I could hold on to. I'm not really looking for answers, I'm looking for alignment. What I've come to think of as coherence is when something starts to make sense, and it doesn't just simply feel like a good idea, it feels settled. There's this combination of mental clarity, emotional calm, and a sense of direction. And I don't need that everywhere when I'm stuck. Sometimes I only need enough just to take the next step. I call that my sigh moment, when I'm able to take a deep breath again. I don't really resolve things. I stay with them until they settle. I used to think in terms of figuring something out. Now it feels more like staying with something just long enough for it to organize. That usually requires time, revisiting different angles, and this willingness not to force closure too soon. And interesting, when I do that, things tend to move. I've been creating thinking environments without naming them. Patio, conversations, voice memos, sketches, AI dialogue. None of these started as a system. They were just simply things I found myself doing. But looking back, they were all ways of creating that space. Places where my thinking could actually move. And now I can be more purposeful about when and how to use them. I trust my thinking differently now. Not because I'm more certain, but because I can see more of the process. I can recognize when I've stayed with something, I've externalized it, I've looked at it from multiple angles. And that creates a kind of confidence, not certainty, something closer to trust. And this might be the most practical shift for me. I have more awareness in the moment. Since going through this process, I found that having this model of thinking in my head is helping me notice in real time when I'm trying to force clarity. I'm still circling something. I'm beginning to see a pattern. I'm starting to settle. And that awareness is helping me make small adjustments. I shift the medium, slow down, stay with it a little longer. Just nothing dramatic, but more calculated.
Another reel for the shelf.